Hi, welcome to today's lesson. This photograph was taken after the Battle of Iwo Jima during the closing months of World War II. It was one of the most brutal battles in the war against Japan. You will learn more about Iwo Jima and the other battles of the Pacific in this lesson. The war in the Pacific began with a surprise attack at Pearl Harbor, which was followed by many setbacks for the United States and the Allies. But after several months, America began to turn the war around. This lesson focuses on the turning points in the war with Japan. Before getting started, let's review what happened during those first months of the war. After Japan's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, the Allies suffered a series of early setbacks. Japan had seized a clear naval and air superiority over the United States, and they took full advantage of it, sweeping south and southeast to capture island after island. Japan had struck Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. By May 1942, Japan had captured the British colonies of Hong Kong and Singapore. Japan had bombed, invaded, and captured Wake Island, Guam, Makin, and Tarawa. Notice the Japanese expansion across Asia in blue on the map. Japan invaded the American Commonwealth of the Philippines. The United States had a key naval base there. Forces under General Douglas MacArthur fought desperately for 5 months to hold on, but were finally overwhelmed by the Japanese. Japan also secured Java in Indonesia with its rich natural resources. It pushed to the southwest and captured much of South Asia. Soon, the Japanese were threatening Australia. In the months that followed, Japan appeared to be nearly unstoppable. 75,000 U.S. and Filipino troops surrendered in the Philippines. It was the largest American force ever to surrender in battle. 60,000 British troops surrendered in Singapore. This was Britain's worst military defeat in its long history. The Japanese pushed on. They captured dozens of islands and held large parts of Asia. Meanwhile, Japan suffered relatively few losses of its own as it piled up one success after another. To fulfill the first objective, which is to describe the Allied island hopping strategy in the Pacific and identify significant battle locations, you will learn about the U.S. strategy called island hopping and how the U.S. used it to fight Japan. The other objectives are for you to evaluate why the Battle of Midway was a turning point in the Pacific and to describe Japanese resistance to American attacks as the war progressed and how this affected the American decision to use the atomic bomb. In other words, you'll learn about key turning points in the war, the major battles, how the Japanese resisted the American attack, and about the contributions of Americans in the Pacific theater, including those of Douglas MacArthur and Chester Nimitz.